about numbers that look like 30, 40, 50, 60 pieces of content a day. Most of the businesses and people in here are putting out one piece of content a day on a good day. Maybe 3 a week. If you're a personal brand, you're killing it and posting 4 things a day. There is nobody that is achieving the volume. If you want to write down one word, people hear volume, they hear quantity. When they hear quantity, they don't think that you can make quality. They think it's a friction between quantity and quality. I believe that the world has grossly overvalued production quality.
Hey there, hello.
And made that quality not the story or the context of the message. And so as we have spent the last 30 to 50 years putting production value on a pedestal as quality, we have put ourselves in a position to not value context and the actual story. And in that is the rub and the opportunity.
What?
The sheer size of this country, the sheer amount of spend, even in the separation of wealth, the uncanny amount of attention on YouTube and Instagram in this country leads this to be one of the most interesting places in the world to be a marketer. To be a marketer, to be an influencer, to be a startup. However, when I spent, because I gave a speech in St. Paulo a couple of weeks ago, so about 3 months ago, I started really doing homework on what's the sentiment? What are people saying in the comments? What's the vibe? What's remarkable in such a progressive and incredible country is how much similarities there are, believe it or not, with the US, which is with all that in place, there's still so much cynicism and pessimism to actually achieve it. That is not a government issue with your new president or ours. That is not a problem that you don't have Silicon Valley. That is a problem that people would rather complain than put in the fucking work. That is a human problem. That is a global human problem. If this was 1957 and it was my grandfather and all of your grandparents, I would have some empathy because it took real money to actually do what I'm saying. But in 2019, with this, I struggle to deploy empathy for you not doing, which is what led me to not making this a game about your wallet. Many people think business is a game of this. Business is not a game of this. Business right now is a game of this.
I need to do...
This has come down to the simple, deep warfare in one's head. What is stopping people from actually making content? And I believe that it comes down to one simple word: judgment. I believe that judgment is crippling our society. I am fascinated and grateful like you would not imagine, for my mother building self-esteem in me without creating entitlement.
I'm live streaming.
My self-esteem allows, when I leave here in a couple of hours and I read the comments and I control copy it and translate it from Portuguese to English, where one of you say that I'm an asshole, I'm okay. I want to give the next talk. I want to make the next piece of content. My ability to deal with losing, pushback, negativity, no, is my strength. My entire model of content production, my entire thesis for this talk only has one major flaw, and that people are insecure. I spend my life putting out content 50, 70, 80 pieces a day with the great hope to eliminate that insecurity, to challenge you and ask you, what judgment? Why? Why are you willing to live a life that ultimately ends with regret and resentment because everybody who's 90 and 100 years old talks about the things they wish they did, not the things they did. And so for me, Brazil, very simply, I'm trying to challenge this room to understand the simplicity of the framework and the massive difficulty in the head, and really lead to a couple tactics. For example, tactic number one of the biggest things that I have seen work in people starting the process to produce content is to make a single video and tell the world their secret that they've been holding on to. If you really think about what's stopping people, it's the darkness and shadows inside of them. By putting it out and taking control of your secret, your dyslexia, your terrible issue as a child, your relationship with X, your drinking problem, whatever it might be, by you taking control of it, by putting it out, no longer does anybody else have leverage to expose it. It is a freedom play. And and listen, if you really want to know, forget about the 5 people that post tomorrow. If I can get one person in here to leave this conference tonight and make a video and tell the world the truth that they've been holding on to, this will be mission fucking accomplished. Thank you, Dad. I want to go into questions in about 5 or 10 minutes, so let me see where the mics are, but I'm going to line them up here and we'll figure that out. But before I do, I want to spend a few more minutes on audio. For a lot of people here, they missed YouTube, they missed Instagram. I believe there's 2 places where you have a chance over the next couple of years to not miss it. Number 1, you have to watch TikTok very carefully. If TikTok takes off seriously in this market, there will be an enormous amount of opportunity because the global penetration in Asia, the US, Europe is exploding. What's so amazing to live in a country of this size and this much opportunity, and you guys know this, is you can see these platforms exploding somewhere else and you can get a head start and play it here. Outside of Orkut, which became the player here, every other platform eventually makes its way here and became the dominant player. Please do not underestimate what is happening on TikTok globally and where the potential sits in this market. You should absolutely, if you're at this conference, if you're smart enough to be at this conference, you should be smart enough to go home and execute around the thesis, around the opportunities, around the knowledge. 1 is TikTok. Number 2 is voice. We are becoming much more of an audio consumption world. By show of hands, how many people here now listen to a podcast? Raise your hands. Raise it high. I want everybody to look around. Look at this. Put it down for a second. Those same people, how many of you were listening to a podcast 5 years ago? Raise your hand. Look around. Look at that growth. Look at that growth. How many people here now, when they watch YouTube videos, sometimes just put the phone down and listen to it and don't even watch the video? Raise your hands. Look at this. Look at this. D-Rock spends all this time making it look pretty and you fuckers just listen to it. Audio is becoming the growing usage because we're busy and we want to do 2 things at once.
Just listening right now.
4 things at once. One of the biggest opportunities in this room is understanding how big audio is and producing audio content.
I wonder if I should
Everybody wants to
restructure
be
this.
a marketer, but most people in this room
I
are salespeople. It's why they like Google. Google's easy.
maybe
It's
not.
intent.
Didn't
Somebody
think
types something
about
in,
this.
you know they want it, so you buy the ads and you convert. That's sales. I'm here to talk about branding and marketing. They're built through branding and marketing, not sales. Audio is no question the fastest growing opportunity to build a brand that most people are not doing. Please be the person in this room that goes back and actually starts a podcast. Please be the person here who actually starts recording their thoughts and just posting the video. I mean, you could literally take your phone, hit memo, or record, put the phone down. It's just a black screen, and you can post a black screen with your words. You can. Most of you won't because you don't think that's quality. This subjective point of view around quality is stopping the world from making. We must flip that on its head. Please be the person in this room that leaves here and starts making. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I left a lot of time for Q&A because I really, the theory is very simple. The details and the questions matter. So who's got the mics? You got the mics? So you got to run around. Who's got a question? Raise your hands. Yep. Okay. Here.
Hi.
Hi.
I love you. Actually, my whole family loves you.
Thank you.
I just came from Canada, so I am an immigrant in Canada. I'm Taylor. And my son listens to your podcast every day. He's 9 years old. My daughter also.
Sorry about the cursing.
Yeah, 11 years old. So I asked him, what do you want to say to Gary Vee? He said, say to him that I love him. That he's awesome.
Getting my mind ready to, fucking fight.
I'm sorry, and you are so fun. I really love you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And why I'm shaking, because as an immigrant, as you know, I'm living in Canada for 13 years now, and I suffer a lot. It was terrible, even for my children that was born there, and even for them, just to eat Brazilian food at the school was very scary. And my daughter was bullied because of that. So my question is, what can I, as a mom, do for my kids?
Sure. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being so
And I need a photo, please.
Yes, you can have a photo. So I think business and parenting have a lot of similarities.
Okay.
So when I hear those kind of stories, and I'm sure, how many people here are parents? Raise your hands. So for all the hands that just went up, you know how challenging it is. Like, you can have common sense everywhere else, but when it's your kids, it's hard to maintain it. But I believe that self-esteem is the ultimate cure to everything. And I think most parents go on defense when their kids are hurting instead of offense. So when their kids are bullied, they want to go fight the school. They want to go fight the parent of the kid. It's defense. For me, as somebody who was bullied, because I was a Soviet immigrant in America in my childhood, when the Soviet Union was the enemy. There was plenty of shit. I mean, if you can zoom in, I've got goosebumps. It was a very challenging time. But what my mom did was she went insular. It was offense. It was me and her in my own head, hearing nothing else. By the time I was in high school, I couldn't hear anybody else. It didn't matter. By the way, both pro and con. So for me, I think the thing you can do is beat into their head about them, not about the people in Montreal or Toronto or Canada. It's not about them. It's about yourself inside your own head, your own self-worth. And you have to pound it. A lot of parents here are like, oh, easy to say, but when their kids are you're right. But it's no different than working out and eating healthy. It's no different than make content and put it on all the platforms. The answer's simple. Pound into your kid's head their own self-worth, not the opinions of others. They'll be a happy person their whole life. The problem is most parents aren't acting that way. So it's hard for them to give advice that they don't even feel themselves. But that is the answer. You're welcome. Questions?
Okay,
Yep.
let's go.
Sure.
Thank you.
Alright, so
How are you?
Fine, you?
Very good.
Been following you for many years, so I'm so happy to be face to face with you.
Thank you.
I'm kind of nervous, so...
Don't worry.
Okay, so I came all the way from an extremely little town in San Juan, in Argentina, called San Juan. So
I'm gonna do.
I've been for a couple months or maybe years trying to figure out if I have to leave my small town or just stay around there, be patient, wait for my business to be like big.
What kind of business is it?
A digital agency. Yeah. So my question is like, would you imagine yourself as a businessman as the size as you are right now, staying in New Jersey, for example, or in a small town?
I understand. So the question for you and everybody here is, what's big? Right? Because this is where people get caught. It's so simple being in a small town in Argentina, thinking you have to go to Sao Paulo, or you have to go to Buenos Aires, or you have to go to New York City. It's easy. It's easy. You're like, that's a much bigger place to go. The question is, it comes down to what makes you happy. For me, what makes me happy is to play the game. Not the money, not how big or small. I just want to play. I've always wanted to play. I've watched so many people have a $1 million business in a small town in America or in the world, move to a bigger place, do 5 million, and be very unhappy. They were very happy at 1 million in their small town. They went to a bigger town, they do 10 million, and they're very unhappy. My friend, Brazil, it is time that we in the world start making happiness what we go after, not more money.
Thank you.
We have to. We have to, right? For me, when I hear bigger, I want you to have a bigger fucking smile on your pretty face, not make 280,000 more in fucking net revenue. You understand? You have to decide that for yourself. I don't know you. You have to decide that for yourself.
That's nice.
Hey Gary,
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so good. I'm following you for almost 3 years, and I just want to say thank you for all of your content. You really changed my life, and
cool.
would
That
mean the
works.
world to
Kind of
have a
animation
picture with you.
later.
Can I?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Right now?
Right now.
Actually, this
Right
is a
now?
perfect
Oh,
spot
thank
to
you.
use.
Give the mic back. How are you? You're welcome.
Jimmy.
All right, get out of here. All right, let's go. Who's next? Hi.
Hi. First of all, I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
You've taught me a lot about perspective and gratitude and happiness. I'm so nervous.
Don't be.
So, me and my sister, we are starting a B2B company, and we're trying to sell training and consulting for HR teams and leader teams.
Okay.
And I know we are not putting as many content as we should out there.
Why? Why do you think? Talk to me real. We're here. Why?
Well, she lives in another town,
Okay.
so it's a little difficult for us to.
Well, you don't
do
both
that.
have to be in the content.
Yeah, no. But she needs a lot of help, from me, because I know how to do things and how to film videos, and I'm teaching her.
Okay.
And she's a little. She doesn't have a lot of confidence. She's really good.
She knows her craft.
Yeah.
So what about writing or what about audio? I feel like so many people that don't have confidence are very scared of the camera, but can do much, much better writing or recording audio.
Yeah.
This is why I spent so much time on it in my talk. I don't want people to be like me. Listen, not everybody is ridiculously handsome and charismatic. You know what I mean though? I don't want people to be like me. I want people to be like me where they found their voice in their medium. But for a lot of you in this room, that's writing. If you're more introverted or insecure, a lot of writers come from that framework. Or I really like audio, so keep that in mind. But keep going.
And she's doing cold calls and trying to reach companies in her region. But I'm just guessing, what else can we do besides content that I know we should be doing to get our first clients? Just to have
Do
a
it for
portfolio.
free.
Yeah.
The biggest mistake small companies make is they don't work for free. And then, now that I said this on the internet, so many people are gonna leave comments and say that I'm an idiot and they hate me and nobody should work for free and blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But those are said by people that have never started a company with no customers. That's right. And so I did it. And I had already built a big business, but I went into a new world where people thought what I did for the liquor store was not gonna work, so I worked for free. I still do it if I think it's the right strategy. So I think the biggest thing you should do is work for free, because it gives you the referral base. And by the way, when nobody's hiring you, that means your work is worth free.
Can I have a selfie?
You can.
Yeah.
Okay. Пожалуйста. Okay. Who's next on?
Hey Gary,
How are you?
tudo bem?
Go ahead, I can listen.
Ok. Gary, eu e a minha esposa hoje temos um negócio rentável, que aprendemos com você. Então, gratidão tremenda.
Thank you.
A pergunta que eu gostaria de fazer é a seguinte, talvez isso seja a realidade de muitos aqui. Quando a gente está num contexto, numa cidade, onde muitos não pensam como nós, não vê as coisas como nós, que a gente vê, por exemplo, que a gente aprende com você.
Story of my fucking life.
Eles precisam disso, eles querem isso, só que eles têm pressa. E isso demanda tempo. O que a gente pode fazer para ajudar esses negócios?
Don't try to convince anybody. The number one mistake when you're selling something new that most people don't understand is people spend too much time trying to convince them instead of finding the person that already understands. People make it a noble mission instead of a business. My friend, I've been right and early for the last 20 years of my life. I have spent almost no time trying to convince anybody. I sometimes have a 1-hour meeting with a company, fly from New York to Chicago, walk in, sit down, start the presentation, and end it after 10 minutes because I already know it's over. Every minute that you spend trying to convince somebody who's already no is a minute that you're not spending trying to find somebody that will say yes.
Ou seja, tentar ajudar quem está disposto a receber essa ajuda.
Of course, because you're not, when you're selling something new, they can't see it,
I could
or
definitely eat more
they don't
of
have
those. Holy
reports
fuck.
in their company to justify it.
I might just do
Got it? So if they don't have the report to justify your work, they're scared. They might agree with you, but the machine that they work in won't allow them to say yes. So you just move on. You're welcome. Sign it? Got it. Okay, next.
Hey Gary,
How are you?
first of all, you're awesome. My name is Luca and I watch your content since I'm 19, now I'm 22, so thank you for being part of that.
Thank you.
I want to ask you something that I believe is really important. You are the first guy to talk about making content, making really quality content, but I'm afraid that the internet still is a place with very anxiety. I mean, Instagram causes a lot of anxiety.
Instagram doesn't cause anything. People are anxious.
Yes,
But this is important. Instagram, there is no Instagram. There's a platform. We post pictures, and humans decide to see somebody having a nice time, and they decide to be upset. It's important though, keep going.
Yeah, my question is, how can we all at here at this event can help these platforms, all platforms be mindful, be better to
By
not
putting
destroy other people.
out real shit. If everybody here didn't only put out photos when they're most dressed up, going to the most fancy place, and showing everybody how fucking amazing their life is, the world would be in a better place.
Thank you.
Not super complicated.
I'm working.
T-Rock and
I
I
gotta
are gonna end this
concentrate.
talk. I'm about to do in 5 minutes the fireside chat. We're gonna do a book signing. We're gonna run to the airport. We're gonna take a private plane because I have to get to Sao Paulo because I want to get home for family early tomorrow morning. There will be no picture of me at a private plane. I'm not gonna show that I'm fancy. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about gratitude and kindness and empathy. We're in control. There's no fucking Instagram monster. There's no YouTube monster. We're the monster. I don't know who's got the mic.
I don't know how this shit works, but I'm gonna end this stream because I need